Chapter 5. Rip! I grit my teeth as Venia, a woman with aqua hair and gold tattoos above her eyebrows, yanked a strip of fabric from my leg, tearing out the hair beneath it. Sorry, she pipes in her silly capital accent. You're just so hairy, okay? So now, guys, in this part of the chapter, we're gonna go to, I'm guessing we can call it the makeovers, okay? So the Hunger Games, again, it's a pageant, okay? It's this huge entertainment thing in the capital, and part of what they do is they give makeovers to the tributes, okay? They make them look like celebrities, basically, because tributes, basically, they are celebrities, okay? They're gonna be on television, they're gonna be interviewed to try to get sponsors, so it's this huge entertainment thing, and so obviously, there are gonna be stylists, and Katniss was even mentioning it in chapter 4, no nga, the stylists decide exactly what you're going to look like. And here we have one of the stylists of Katniss is Venia. She has aqua hair and gold tattoos above her eyebrows, so they look odd, you know, they look fashionable, and it's so colorful and crazy that it's a little bit scary. They almost seem like clowns, the capital people, no, the way they're described, they almost seem like creepy clowns, almost. Why do these people speak in such a high pitch? Why do their jaws barely open when they talk? Why do the ends of their sentences go up as if they're asking a question? Odd vowels, clipped words, and always a hiss on the letter S. No wonder it's impossible not to mimic them. Then Venia makes what's supposed to be a sympathetic face. Good news though, this is the last one. Ready? I get a grip on the edges of the table I'm seated on and nod. The final swath of my leg hair is uprooted in a painful jerk. I've been in the remake center for more than 3 hours and I still haven't met my stylist. Okay, so the one working on Katniss now, she is an assistant. She's the assistant of a stylist. Katniss hasn't met her actual stylist yet, and she's already been there for 3 hours, and they're like removing hair, and it's painful, and it's girly things that we don't need to dwell on, alright? Apparently, he has no interest in seeing me until Venia and the other members of my prep team have addressed some obvious problems. This has included scrubbing down my body with a gritty foam that has removed not only dirt but at least 3 layers of skin, turning my nails into uniform shapes, and primarily ridding my body of hair. My legs, arms, torso, underarms, and parts of my eyebrow have been stripped off the stuff, leaving me like a plucked bird ready for roasting. I don't like it. My skin feels sore and tingling, and intensely vulnerable. But I have kept my side of the bargain with Haymitch, and no objection has crossed my lips. So that's something Haymitch said. No, he said, trust me, don't complain. Do whatever the stylists tell you to do. Don't be mean, don't put up a fight, just obey them. Okay, and Katniss is trying to take Haymitch's advice. You're doing very well, says some guy named Flavius. He gives his orange corkscrew locks a shake and applies a fresh coat of purple lipstick to his mouth. If there's one thing we can't stand, it's a whiner. Grease her down. Venia and Octavia, a plump woman whose entire body has been dyed a pale shade of pea green, rub me down with a lotion that first stings but then soothes my raw skin. Then they pull me from the table, removing the thin robe I've been allowed to wear off and on. I stand there as the 3 circle me, wielding tweezers to remove any last bits of hair. I know I should be embarrassed, but they're so unlike people that I'm no more self-conscious than if a trio of oddly colored birds were pecking around my feet. So, kanino, it's weird, the prep team, they're Katniss said they don't even seem human anymore. Their hair's so crazy, their makeup so crazy, they're tattooed, and they're kind of all gathering around Katniss, and she even compares them to birds, guys. It's almost like there are 3 giant birds kind of going around Katniss, and Katniss is like, this is so weird. This feels so weird. The 3 step back and admire their work. Excellent, you almost look like a human being now, says Flavius, and they all laugh. I force my lips up into a smile to show how grateful I am. Thank you, I say sweetly. We don't have much cause to look nice in District 12. This wins them over completely. Of course you don't, you poor darling, says Octavia, clasping her hands together in distress for me. But don't worry, says Athenia. By the time Cinna is through with you, you're going to be absolutely gorgeous. We promise, now that we've gotten rid of all the hair and filth, you're not horrible at all, says Flavius, encouragingly. Let's call Cinna. They dart out of the room. It's hard to hate my prep team. They're such total idiots, and yet, in an odd way, I know they're sincerely trying to help me. So Katniss is like, I can't even hate these people because they're idiots. And you can't hate an idiot. But then she's also like, and it's kind of nice that they're actually trying to help me. They want me to look good so that people in the capital and sponsors will like me and it will give me a better chance of surviving the game. So she's like, I don't hate them, but they're stupid. Okay, that's basically Katniss's thinking, no? I look at the cold white walls and floor and resist the impulse to retrieve my robe. But this Cinna, my stylist, will surely make me remove it at once. Instead, my hands go to my hairdo, the one area of my body my prep team had been told to leave alone. My fingers stroke the silky braids my mother so carefully arranged. My mother. I left her blue dress and shoes on the floor of my train car, never thinking about retrieving them, of trying to hold on to a piece of her, of home. Now I wish I had. So the only thing that remains of Katniss is the hair, no? The hairdo, the braids that her mother did on her before the reaping even. The door opens and a young man who must be Cinna enters. I'm taken aback by how normal he looks. So the stylist of Katniss, his name is Cinna, and he's a young dude, and he looks very normal. Most of the stylists they interview on television are so dyed, stenciled, and surgically altered they're grotesque. But Cinna's close-cropped hair appears to be its natural shade of brown. He's in a simple black shirt and pants. The only concession to self-alteration seems to be metallic gold eyeliner that has been applied with a light hand. It brings out the flecks of gold in his green eyes. And despite my disgust with the capital and their hideous fashions, I can't help thinking how attractive it looks. So, Katniss's stylist doesn't seem like Joker, no? He doesn't seem like a clown. He actually looks cool, okay? He looks cool. He looks natural. He's wearing something very simple. All he has is a little gold eyeliner, and he kind of looks like a rock star, okay? Hello, Katniss. I'm Cinna, your stylist, he says in a quiet voice, somewhat lacking in the capital's affectations. Hello, I venture cautiously. Just give me a moment, alright? He asks. He walks around my naked body, not touching me, but taking in every inch of it with his eyes. I resist the impulse to cross my arms over my chest. Who did your hair, okay? So this is one scene in the book, guys, where Katniss, she's standing naked, good, okay? Because the stylists have to go through her. And it's not this gross scene, alright? Don't turn it into something gross in your heads. It's something that needs to be done. It's almost like a medical check-up, okay? The stylists need to look at them and study them for medical purposes, okay? And for scientific purposes. So it's not a gross scene, and I don't want you to make it gross in your head, okay? But that's what Cinna's doing. He's observing her. My mother, I say. It's beautiful, classic really, and an almost perfect balance with your profile. She has very clever fingers, he says. So Cinna is impressed with the hairdo, with the braids that Katniss's mother did on her. I had expected someone flamboyant, someone older trying desperately to look young, someone who viewed me as a piece of meat to be prepared for a platter. Cinna has met none of these expectations. You're new, aren't you? I don't think I've seen you before, I say. Most of the stylists are familiar, constants in the ever-changing pool of tributes. Some have been around my whole life. Yes, this is my first year in the game, says Cinna. So they gave you District 12, I say. Newcomers generally end up with us, the least desirable district. I asked for District 12, he says without further explanation. Why don't you put on your robe and we'll have a chat? So, again, guys, in the beginning of the chapter, we see how Katniss views the people in the capital. She views them as stupid. She views them as birds. She's expecting my stylist is gonna be gross. My stylist is gonna be hideous. He's gonna make me hideous. But right away, we kind of get a plot twist in which the stylist of Katniss, Cinna, he's cool. And not only is he cool, he seems like a nice guy, okay? It's his first year styling in the games, okay? And Katniss said, "Oh, so they gave you District 12 because you're a newcomer. They gave you the least wanted district." But Cinna was like, "No, actually, I asked for District 12. I wanted District 12 tributes. Okay, it's not a punishment. This is my choice." Okay, so right away we see, guys, that Katniss's expectations, they're different. What's really happening are different, and so it's really cool. I love this. It's a small plot twist. It's not the biggest plot twist in the book, but it's a cool thing that Katniss and the readers didn't expect, no? That she actually has a cool stylist. Okay, and that's gonna be very important in the events leading up to the Hunger Games. Pulling on my robe, I follow him through a door into a sitting room. 2 red couches face off over a low table. 3 walls are blank, the 4th is entirely glass, providing a window to the city. I can see by the light that it must be around noon, although the sunny sky has turned overcast. Cinna invites me to sit on one of the couches and takes his place across from me. He presses a button on the side of the table. The top splits, and from below rises a second tabletop that holds our lunch. Chicken and chunks of oranges cooked in a creamy sauce laid on a bed of pearly white grain, tiny green peas and onions, rolls shaped like flowers, and for dessert, a pudding the color of honey. I tried to imagine assembling this meal myself back home. Chickens are too expensive, but I could make do with a wild turkey. I'd need to shoot a second turkey to trade for an orange. Goat's milk would have to substitute for cream. We can grow peas in the garden. I'd have to get wild onions from the woods. I don't recognize the grain. Our own tessera ration cooks down to an unattractive brown mush. Fancy rolls would mean another trade with the baker, perhaps for 2 or 3 squirrels. As for the pudding, I can't even guess what's in it. Days of hunting and gathering for this one meal, and even then it would be a poor substitution for the capital version. What must it be like, I wonder, to live in a world where food appears at the press of a button? How would I spend the hours I now commit to combing the woods for sustenance if it were so easy to come by? What do they do all day, these people in the capital, besides decorating their bodies and waiting around for a new shipment of tributes to roll in and die for their entertainment? I look up and find Cinna's eyes trained on mine. "How despicable we must seem to you," he says. Has he seen this in my face or somehow read my thoughts? He's right, though. The whole rotten lot of them is despicable, okay? So, once again, they have lunch. Once again, they have food, and food's a huge part of the Hunger Games. And Katniss, she's just looking at this meal and she's saying, "What? He pressed a button and all of this food appeared." In the press of a button, all this food appeared. In District 12, you would have to dedicate days to even prepare a cheap version of this meal. And she's like, what do they do all day? Their lives are so easy. No wonder they need to entertain themselves by watching the Hunger Games. And Katniss is so disgusted, and Cinna's just watching her, and he's like, wow, you must hate us so much. And so Cinna again surprises us, because it's almost as if he was able to read the thoughts of Katniss. "No matter," says Cinna. "So Katniss, about your costume for the opening ceremonies. My partner Portia is a stylist for your fellow tribute, Pita, and our current thought is to dress you in complimentary costume," says Cinna. "As you know, it's customary to reflect the flavor of the district. For the opening ceremonies, you're supposed to wear something that suggests your district's principal industry. District 11, agriculture. District 4, fishing. District 3, factories. This means that coming from District 12, Pita and I will be in some kind of coal miner's getup. Since the baggy miners' jumpsuits are not particularly becoming, our tributes usually end up in skimpy outfits and hats with headlamps. One year, our tributes were stark naked and covered in black powder to represent coal dust. It's always dreadful and does nothing to win favor with the crowd. I prepare myself for the worst." Okay, now this is for my fashion lovers out there. If anyone in the grade 7 right now, if you're into clothes and fashion, the Hunger Games will definitely appeal to you. And the reason for this, guys, is because there's actually a lot of fashion in the Hunger Games as well. So there's a lot of food in the Hunger Games, there's a lot of action in the Hunger Games, there's a lot of romance in the Hunger Games, but there's also a lot of fashion, no? And it's really cool because the stylists, they're supposed to dress the tributes up in a costume that represents the district they come from. So for example, District 4 is fishing. The stylists might put their tributes in, I don't know, like a mermaid or a merman costume. Okay, there's technology, so maybe like the stylist will put them in like clothes that light up, or like that are run on electricity or something. So it depends on the district you come from, okay? I don't know what else. I know District 1 is glamour, okay? So it's kind of like luxury items. So maybe fur, animal skin, all right? So the stylist, that's their theme. They have to dress their tributes up like that. And Katniss said that District 12 were known for mining. And so it's always like the ugliest district. Mining isn't a beautiful thing. It isn't like, I don't know, technology or luxury or weapons or any of the other districts. No, it's mining is dirty. It's digging and it's coal. Okay, and so the stylists always do a horrible job. Even one year, they were just naked. Can you imagine how embarrassing that is? The stylist sent them out naked and just threw black powder at them. And Katniss is terrified. She doesn't want to be humiliated. And it's so cool, guys, because Katniss, she doesn't want to die. That's her number one thing. She wants to survive the Hunger Games. But there's still the teenage girl in her who also doesn't want to be embarrassed or humiliated in front of all of these people, okay? And so she's like, oh man, I know what he's gonna create for us. It's gonna be butt ugly, alright? I prepare myself for the worst. So I'll be in a coal miner outfit, I ask, hoping it won't be indecent. Not exactly, you see. Portion, I think that coal miner thing's very undone. No one will remember you in that, and we both see it as our job to make the District 12 tributes unforgettable, says Cinna. I'll be naked for sure. I think she's so scared that she has to be indecent in front of people, which I really like, guys, no? Now a lot of girls, like, they show off a lot of skin, no? And they're not embarrassed by it. But I like that Katniss is the type of girl who's like, I don't want to be indecent. I don't want to show off my body, alright? And she's so worried that Cinna will force her to do that, alright? So rather than focus on the coal mining itself, we're going to focus on the coal, says Cinna, naked and covered in black dust, I think. And what do we do with the coal? We burn it, says Cinna. You're not afraid of fire, are you, Katniss? He sees my expression and grins. A few hours later, I am dressed in what will either be the most sensational or the deadliest costume in the opening ceremonies. I'm in a simple black unitard that covers me from ankle to neck. Shiny leather boots lace up to my knees. But it's the fluttering cape made of streams of orange, yellow, and red, and the matching headpiece that defines this costume. Cinna plans to light them on fire just before our chariot rolls into the streets. It's not real flame, of course, just a little synthetic fire Portia and I came up with. You'll be perfectly safe, he says, but I'm not convinced I won't be perfectly barbecued by the time you reach the city center. Alright, so Cinna proves to again completely do what Katniss doesn't expect him to do. And this chapter, this chapter is a chapter of surprises, good. Because Katniss keeps thinking he's gonna do one thing, but then he does another thing. And so she's like, oh my, he's gonna come up with a stupid or an indecent costume. But actually, Cinna said that coal, what do we do with coal? We burn it. So Cinna's idea is fire. And the outfits he created for Katniss and Pita, okay, it will make them look like they're on fire, alright? It will make them look like they're burning because he wants them to be unforgettable. And Katniss is like, okay, that's kinda cool, but that also sounds kinda scary. My face is relatively clear of makeup, just a bit of highlighting here and there. My hair has been brushed out and then braided down my back in my usual style. I want the audience to recognize you when you're in the arena, says Cinna dreamily. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. It crosses my mind that Cinna's calm and normal demeanor masks a complete madman. I love Katniss. He's like, I want you to be remembered as the girl on fire. And Katniss is like, he's crazy. Despite this morning's revelation about Peeta's character, I'm actually relieved when he shows up, dressed in an identical costume. He should know about fire, being a baker's son and all. His stylist Portia and her team accompany him, and everyone is absolutely giddy with excitement over what a splash will make. Except Cinna, he just seems a bit weary as he accepts congratulations. We're whisked down to the bottom level of the Remake Center, which is essentially a gigantic stable. The opening ceremonies are about to start. Pairs of tributes are being loaded into chariots pulled by teams of 4 horses. Ours are coal black. The animals are so well trained, no one even needs to guide their reins. Cinna and Portia direct us into the chariot and carefully arrange our body positions, the drape of our capes, before moving off to consult with each other. What do you think, I whispered to Peeta, about the fire? I'll rip off your cape if you'll rip off mine, he says through gritted teeth. Deal, I say. Maybe if we can get them off soon enough, we'll avoid the worst burns. It's bad though. They'll throw us into the arena no matter what condition we're in. I know we promised Haymitch we'd do exactly what they said, but I don't think he considered this angle. So Katniss is like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We're gonna burn to death. And Peeta is like, if you take off my cape, if I'm on fire and you help me, I will help you as well. This is so cute. I really, really like this. Again, because it's a serious situation. No? It's a serious situation, the Hunger Games. But Peeta and Katniss, they're still teenagers. And they still have these awkward teenager moments. And Katniss is like, why did we promise Haymitch we'd do whatever these crazy people say? Where is Haymitch anyway? Isn't he supposed to protect us from this sort of thing, says Peeta. With all that alcohol in him, it's probably not advisable to have him around an open flame, I say. And suddenly we're both laughing. I guess we're both so nervous about the games, and more pressingly petrified of being turned into human torches, we're not acting sensibly. The opening music begins. It's easy to hear, blasted around the Capitol. Massive doors slide open, revealing the crowd-lined streets. The ride lasts about 20 minutes and ends up at the city circle, where they will welcome us, play the anthem, and escort us into the training center, which will be our home/prison until the games begin. The tributes from District 1 ride out in a chariot pulled by snow-white horses. They look so beautiful, spray-painted silver, and tasteful tunics glittering with jewels. District 1 makes luxury items for the capital. You can hear the roar of the crowd. They are always favorites. District 2 gets into position to follow them. In no time at all, we are approaching the door, and I can see that between the overcast sky and evening hour, the light is turning gray. The tributes from District 11 are just rolling out when Cinna appears with a lighted torch. Here we go then, he says. And before we can react, he sets our capes on fire. I gasp, waiting for the heat, but there is only a faint tickling sensation. Cinna climbs up before us and ignites our headdresses. He lets out a sigh of relief. It works. Then he gently tucks a hand under my chin. Remember, heads high, smiles. They're going to love you. Cinna jumps off the chariot and has one last idea. He shouts something up at us, but the music drowns him out. He shouts again and gestures. What's he saying? I ask Peeta. For the first time, I look at him and realize that ablaze with the fake flames, he is dazzling, and I must be too. So Cinna's outfits, guys, it looks like they're burning, but it's beautiful. It's not like, they're burning and it looks painful. They look like they're shining good, and they look like they're on fire, but in a good way and in a cool way. And it's so beautiful that when Katniss looks at Peeta, it kind of takes her breath away, where she's like, oh, he looks so good, and I must look so good also. It's as if they're glowing with fire. It's as if they're like, I don't know, stars or something. I think he said for us to hold hands, says Peeta. He grabs my right hand in his left, and we look to Cinna for confirmation. He nods and gives a thumbs up, and that's the last thing I see before we enter the city. So Cinna is like, hold hands, and Peeta holds Katniss's hand. The crowd's initial alarm at our appearance quickly changes to cheers and shouts of District 12. Every head is turned our way, pulling the focus from the three chariots ahead of us. At first, I'm frozen, but then I catch sight of us on a large television screen, and I'm floored by how breathtaking we look. In the deepening twilight, the firelight illuminates our faces. We seem to be leaving a trail of fire off the flowing capes. Cinna was right about the minimal makeup. We both look more attractive, but utterly recognizable. Okay, so Katniss, like, their chariot goes out into the streets, and the sky is turning dark, but it looks like they're glowing and they're on fire. And Katniss sees them on the TV screen, and she's like, wow, we look amazing. We look unforgettable, which is what Cinna really wanted. No, he wanted them to be unforgettable. Remember, heads high, smiles, they're going to love you. I hear Cinna's voice in my head. I lift my chin a bit higher, put on my most winning smile, and wave with my free hand. I'm glad now I have Peeta to clutch for balance. He is so steady, solid as a rock. As I gain confidence, I actually blow a few kisses to the crowd. The people of the capital are going nuts, showering us with flowers, shouting our names, our first names, which they have bothered to find on the program. The pounding music, the cheers, the admiration work their way into my blood, and I can't suppress my excitement. Cinna has given me a great advantage. No one will forget me, not my look, not my name, Katniss, the girl who was on fire. For the first time, I feel a flicker of hope rising up in me. Surely there must be one sponsor willing to take me on, and with a little extra help, some food, the right weapon, why should I count myself out of the games? Someone throws me a red rose. I catch it, give it a delicate sniff, and blow a kiss back in the general direction of the giver. 100 hands reach up to catch my kiss, as if it were a real, intangible thing. Katniss, Katniss, I can hear my name being called from all sides. Everyone wants my kisses. It's not until we enter the city circle that I realize I must have completely stopped the circulation in Peeta's hand. That's how tightly I've been holding it. I look down at our linked fingers as I loosen my grasp, but he regains his grip on me. No, don't let go of me, he says. The firelight flickers off his blue eyes. Please, I might fall out of this thing. Okay, I say, so I keep holding on, but I can't help feeling strange about the way Cinna has linked us together. It's not really fair to present us as a team and then lock us into the arena to kill each other. So Katniss wanted to let go now of Peeta's hand, but Peeta was like, please don't let go. I need to hold someone, okay? And so they continued holding hands. The 12 chariots fill the loop of the city circle. On the buildings that surround the circle, every window is packed with the most prestigious citizens of the capital. Our horses pull our chariot right up to President Snow's mansion, and we come to a halt. The music ends with a flourish. The president, a small, thin man with paper white hair, gives the official welcome from a balcony above us. It is traditional to cut away to the faces of the tributes during the speech, but I can see on the screen that we are getting way more than our share of airtime. The darker it becomes, the more difficult it is to take your eyes off our flickering. When the national anthem plays, they do make an effort to do a quick cut around to each pair of tributes, but the camera holds on the District 12 chariot as it parades around the circle one final time and disappears into the training center. The doors have only just shut behind us when we're engulfed by the prep teams, who are nearly unintelligible as they babble out praise. As I glance around, I notice a lot of the other tributes are shooting us dirty looks, which confirms what I have suspected. We've literally outshone them all. So they go back, and then the Cinna are so happy, and the stylists are so happy. And then all the other tributes are watching them, and they're death glaring at them, guys, because they're like, they outshone us. District 12 got the advantage because of their stylists, and the other tributes are mad about it. Good. Then Cinna and Portia are there, helping us down from the chariot, carefully removing our flaming capes and headdresses. Portia extinguishes them with some kind of spray from a canister. I realize I'm still glued to Peeta and force my stiff fingers to open. We both massage our hands. Thanks for keeping hold of me. I was getting a little shaky there, says Pita. It didn't show, I tell him. I'm sure no one noticed. I'm sure they didn't notice anything but you. You should wear flames more often, he says. They suit you. Again, the thing is, it's this scary situation, it's this awful world, but they're still teenagers. And Pita is being a little flirty here, okay? He says that you look good in flames, okay? And then he gives me a smile that seems so genuinely sweet, with just the right touch of shyness, that unexpected warmth rushes through me, okay? So this is such a good way, I think, of describing the word kilig, no, okay? Unexpected warmth rushes through you. Because when Pita compliments her, okay, he says nga, I'm sure they didn't notice anything but you. You should wear flames more often. They suit you. And he smiles at her, and Katniss kind of feels kilig. She feels unexpected warmth, okay? A warning bell goes off in my head. Don't be so stupid. Pita is planning how to kill you, I remind myself. He's luring you in to make you easy prey. The more likable he is, the more deadly he is. So Katniss, you guys, her thing is, she doesn't trust Pita. She can't trust Pita because they are competitors. They are enemies. Okay? And she said he's only trying to make you like him so that he can kill you once you're in the arena, once you're in the games. But because two can play at this game, I stand on tiptoe and kiss his cheek right on his bruise. Okay, so Katniss said, okay, two can play at this game. You're trying to make me like you so that I won't kill you in the arena, no? So I won't kill you in the games. Two can play at that game, she said in her head, and then she kisses him on the cheek. Okay, like if you're trying to make me like you, I'll try to make you like me too. Because she thinks that all they're doing is playing the games, that they're trying to outwit and outsmart each other to survive. And that is the end of chapter 5.